the way you did consistently for 15 minutes and have a lot of success. Was the success that you were able to have and consistently for 15 minutes a surprise to you at all? I mean, you clearly outlanded them in every single round, really landed the majority of the cleanest and hardest shots.
I don't think so. I'm a mixed martial artist, and just because I have a high-level grappling game and ground game and can submit people, doesn't mean that I don't have other parts of my game. That's just where I'm most successful. And I knew Eddie was going to be hyper aware of that. I got a takedown right away in the beginning of the round, and I felt like that really kind of set the pace. He was so worried about my grappling. It allowed me to use my wrestling to make my striking shine. And as soon as if he lacked on my striking, I was going to take him down. So that's what mixed martial arts is being about, is using your striking to make your wrestling effective and use your wrestling to make your striking effective. And I feel like that's something I'm really good at. And I was pumped that I got to show a little bit more of a skill set tonight.
Were you conscious in the first round? You got that early takedown. He gets back up. You threw a couple shots and went down on one. He got underhooks and pulled you back up. Those were really the two takedowns you went for. But after that, I wouldn't say you abandoned it, but really it seemed like it clicked that you understood you were getting to him with your striking and went to it more often. Was there a moment where you realized I'm faking him out with the wrestling and actually landing strikes, or were you just trying to kind of switch it up each time and it just happened to result in success repeatedly?
Kind of a little bit of both. I knew I was landing a lot of striking, and I knew I needed to keep him honest with the takedown, so I'd kind of shoot half shots to get him to drop his hands and then dig some uppercuts. But if he got lackadaisical and he planted his feet, I was gonna shoot a hard shot in wrestling. But he was doing a really, really good job of having great lateral movement and cutting angles, and he didn't really let me get off a solid shot. You know what I mean? I was trying to taunt him a little bit because he was running so much. I'm like, plant your feet, let's brawl. And if I could have got him a little bit more solid ground, I would have took him down. But the way he was moving, I had to fight the way I did, and luckily, I came up with it.
You've talked about the impact that Robert Ballas has had on you as a fighter and training you, but can you talk specifically about his advice in the corner? It really stood out prominently after the first and second rounds, how clear, concise, and technical it was. This is still a sport where guys who get paid money, women who get paid money to train fighters come in and say things like impose your will and these abstract things. Ballas gave you very clear technical directions which seem to jive with what would lead you to victory. Talk about kind of Rob Ballas having that corner insight and being able to make adjustments on the fly.
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, I want to say Coach Jimmy Gifford was one of my striking coaches this whole camp. He's been working with Misha for a while, and I haven't really worked on my striking probably for 6 or 7 years, other than MMA sparring where I can mix in my wrestling. I didn't really believe in just striking unless you could wrestle, and I saw what Jimmy Gifford was doing with Misha, the things he was doing that I really believed in, that it wasn't just a cookie cutter striking, and I took a step forward and I worked with him a lot this camp. Also, Coach Falls is somebody I really look up to. I've known him for a long time, since I was a teenager, back when he used to run Team Quest 12 years ago. And so that guy was always a phenomenal coach to me. And really, for me, that's why I moved to Las Vegas, is specifically because of Coach Robert Falls and his mental game and his coaching ability. And during the corner, different fighters like different things. I feel like Misha and I are completely different in that aspect. I'm a very technical fighter. I like concise, technical things. Other fighters are too focused. They can't really hear. They like, you got to get in his face. You got to push the pace. They like more base level stuff. But that's why I like Falls, is because he can break something down. A lot of fighters will ask questions of the coach, like, well, just do it on the coach. That doesn't fly with me. I need somebody who's intelligent and can break down why I'm doing something. If I understand, I'll believe in it. I won't ever do anything that I don't understand why.
And having her in your corner, how important was it?
Yeah, that's a huge thing for me. I was actually really extra nervous tonight because not only was I fighting a tough guy in Eddie Wineland, being ranked 6th in the world, Misha was fighting later on in the evening, and I knew I had to put on a good show. I didn't want to get lost or a bad performance and have that eating away in Misha's mind, and I didn't even want her to come out with me. I didn't want her to have an adrenaline dump. But she's like, you have my back all these years, I have your back. There's no way I'm not going to be in your corner. And to have that kind of dedication and loyalty and support is extremely rare. And I couldn't be more happy. This is going to be one of the fights that goes down for the rest of my life, no matter what else I do. Is one of the greatest fights for me ever, just because of having her on the same card in the UFC. We're both fighting top 10 opponents in the world. It couldn't be more amazing. So I was really stoked to go out there and put on a performance and get a win.
And now you're going to her corner, right?
Absolutely. I'll be back. As soon as we finish these, I'm going to be back in her corner, pumping her up and getting her ready for her fight. And it's going to be an epic night for us. And she's really ready. I think we're both in phenomenal shape this fight. We work with Phase 1 Sports, might go out there. First time in my camp that I've actually done, like I said, another 5 or 6 years that I actually trained like an athlete. I worked my striking, I worked with a boxing coach. I got my nutritionist, over at Phase 1 Sports. I did strength and conditioning, agility, and I really felt the difference. I came into this fight probably 4 or 5 pounds bigger, so the weight cut was a little bit harder, but I felt stronger out there tonight. I was probably 156, 157 pounds in the cage tonight. And, I felt the size difference in the strength and my conditioning. I felt just as good as round 3 as I did round 1. And, I owe that to Phase 1 Sports. And be ready for Misha to look phenomenal. She's going to be in phenomenal shape and looking to push the pace as well.
Where does this win put you in the division?
Well, Eddie Wineland was ranked 6th. And, I finished every other opponent I've won. I finished 4 guys in the UFC. He's the first opponent I didn't finish, so I was really bummed about that. But you can't finish all the guys in the world, especially when they're top 10 dudes in the world. I thought I went in there and was impressive, even though I didn't finish him. He's one of the best strikers in the division. I went out there and outstruck him consistently the whole fight, and I'm known to be a wrestler and grappler. So I think that says a lot, and I really believe that I'm a top 5 guy in the world. And Wineland was 6, and I beat him pretty solidly. And my goal is to be a world champion, and I'm stoked that Dillashaw and Brow's fighting tonight. I get a fight on the same card, and I can't wait to see what happens with that fight. And, maybe take on the challenge, the winner of that fight, or whatever the UFC. But I want that belt. I would love to get in there and fight TJ Dillashaw or Brow.
Who do you have in this fight?
TJ Dillashaw is my boy. We're on the Ultimate Fighter together. We used to train at Alpha Male together. I remember when that kid first came into the gym, and after the first 3 months of training with him, he had no MMA training. I said, this kid is on another level. He's not mentally normal. He's not mentally right. He's kind of psychopath. And he'd show up before everybody else, stay later than everybody else, and he just seemed to work harder than anybody I've ever met, and almost just psycho, like he'd get angry. So it's kind of a funny joke. Team Alpha Male started calling him Lieutenant Dan, because he'd snap. Like if he didn't have a training partner, someone wasn't there, he'd just freak out. And I'm like, dude, calm down. He was like his life depended on it. And I knew great things were going to come out of him, getting on the show with him, and he made it to the finals, and now it's awesome. I've been an old dog in this sport for a long time. I've been fighting for 12 years, and to see somebody young and hungry come in after I've already fought in the WC, I've already fought in Showtime, I've fought in Strikeforce, to see him come in and see that kind of energy, and to see his hard work propel him past me to a world championship inspired me to do the things that, honestly, seeing him work ethic actually inspired me to start doing strength conditioning. He was actually a big motivation for me. Training with him when he was below me, and I used to beat him up, to coming up and being the world champion now, I'm like, that's the shit I need to do. That's where the sport's evolved to. And, I think a little bit of that got to see tonight. So I'm pumped for the future.
And after all this declaration about him, no problems in fighting him in the future?
Hey, it's a sport. That's what I did. I don't fight because of animosity. I don't fight because of negativity. I don't fight because I don't like somebody. I fight because it's my job and I love competing. I fought him every day in the gym before. Why not fight when we're getting paid for it? Just punch each other for free. So now we get paid a lot of money. So no, man, we hung out this week, talked to him. But I'm not one of those guys that has to dislike somebody. I'll punch my best friend right in the face 45 times until he gives up. And like, dude, let's go get a beer. Same goes with my friends. It's a sport. That's what it is to me.
Thank you.
Yeah.